Hello, everyone. I'm Drax. You're tuned in to Draxatron, and I'd like to welcome you to Episode 9 of Let's Play The Outer Worlds. I am glad you're here and chose to visit, and I do hope that you'll enjoy today's adventure. Let's get into it, shall we? I also want to take the opportunity to apologize right quick for not uploading last weekend. I took those days off to spend some time with the family and take care of a few things around the house. But I'm back in the saddle and ready to continue. Now, last we left off, we had spoken to Nyoka, and she agreed to...
Can we talk?
Uh-oh. She agreed to guide us to Devil's Peak, which is down here. We need to go there to see the broker. We'll also be getting tied up in a minor dispute between Monarch Industries and the Iconoclasts, but we'll get into that later. What's up, Nyoka?
Hey, got a favor to ask you. Figure while we're out here in the wilderness anyhow, we might stop in on an old friend of mine. Preferably before we get to Hiram's. It's on the way, don't worry. You don't seem the type to run off and get yourself killed, and I could use the help. I'll be upfront with you. I hate asking for help. I hate it. Every time I give someone the opportunity to disappoint me, they seem to make it their most immediate goal. But this, what I'm thinking, it's dangerous. Really? Here I was steeling myself for inevitable rejection. I used to run with a band of hunters. Friends. 6 of us. We were on Monarch when the corporations pulled out, and we helped a lot of people pick up the pieces. I haven't seen 2 of them in years, and the rest I know to be dead. I'd like to gather their effects and bury them all in the same places, like the family we once were. First, we go to Hayes. I buried him a ways from our encampment. I need to pay my respects. I'll show you where he rests. He had a medallion in his effects. That's what I'll bring home to Barry. Then we find my 2 lost trackers and bring them home. A long time ago, we built an encampment in one of Monarch's cave systems. Trouble is, a Mantiqueen showed up and kicked us all out. If we can find Rebecca and Anders, they'll know how to lure her out. Then, we kill the bitch and bury everyone's medallions together. Thanks, Cap.
All right. But yeah, what I was going to say...
Stellar Bay. Only place on the planet that don't stink of sulfur. On account of it stinking like fish instead.
Getting to the transmitter station on Devil's Peak is going to involve finding ourselves further pushed into the midst of the ongoing disagreement between Monarch Stellar Industries and the Iconoclasts, but as I said, we'll get to that later. We're also waiting to hear back from Zora Blackwood what she may or may not be doing in the near future.
Everyone all right?
With regards to what's going on inside the Iconoclasts. We had found information that painted Graham, the leader of the Iconoclasts, in a rather negative light. Anyway, we are going to... This is Nyoka's quest here. I'm still not sure it's a good idea to tell Tucker to go home, but I suppose I'll have to at some point just to clear the quest off my log. And, of course, going to see Hiram, the broker, at Devil's Peak will connect into us going to Cascadia to get those chemicals that Phineas needs that are in the Rizzo's lab underneath the town. But for now, we're going to focus on this. Alright, now.
And we're stuck.
I'm a good draw.
Oh, that was fun. Oh. What's the... There we go.
I call this Rotting River, on account of all the dead things I've thrown in it over the years. It'll take you into the Devil's Peak Caverns if you follow it under the bridge. That's one option. Others the slope up. If you're up for some fun, let's chat.
See what Nyoka has to say then.
What's up? Right. We can take the caverns up, but if you ain't into spelunking, there's a path a little ways north. I'd warn you, it'll be a tough trek. Big bad's up on that hill. I'm game to hunt them if you are, but it'd be safer to stick to the caverns.
Alright then. Oh, sorry, Felix. The cavern entrance is right there.
Here we go! Don't mess with us! The caves back east are safest. We can head up this path if you want to shoot your way through a few nightmares on your way up.
I've been waiting for this. This. Woo! I was just getting started. Good thing I got my hiking boots on. They're actually the same as my ass-kicking boots. I can't afford another pair.
It is a trek, isn't it? Almost like we don't have working lifts or roads.
We'll manage. Don't worry.
Take him down!
Alright. There he is. Basically, every time you come to a clearing climbing this mountain, there's going to be something wanting to eat your face off.
Here we go! Nice hit!
Nyoka, get out of the way.
That's the last of them.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Every single time you get into a firefight in games like this, if you're going to target something that you're aiming to shoot at, throw a fireball at, whatever you're doing, if you have any companions with you, they will step in to your line of fire. I don't hold it against the companions. They're only doing what they're programmed to. But it gets so annoying at times. I don't want to accidentally shoot you in the back. Come on now. Oh, hello.
It'll be fun.
Score one for Felix.
And here we are. Told you we'd make it in one piece. Station ain't too far now.
As a matter of fact, there it is right there. But first, let me divert over this way. Don't know if these people talk.
Approaching! I sharp C3!
C3! It sound like you're constipated or something.
How'd you get up here? Through the caves? Good answer. I wasn't looking forward to gut-shotting you.
Okay.
See, the thing is, I'm with the corporate compliance crew. C3, if you will. We're mercs. And our current contract mandates that we annihilate any creatures or persons that emerge from the tunnel.
Allow me to intervene. It's my job to mediate any conflicts of interest regarding C3 and third parties. All right, first things first. To make a decision in this dispute, I'm gonna need to know what your role in your organization is. A lean but efficient corporate structure. I'm impressed. Still, I gotta wonder, what are your intentions regarding Devil's Peak Station? That is why you've wandered out here, I presume.
You presume correctly.
Our guidelines allow us some leeway in identifying threats to our client. Your unorthodox profession makes me think we ought to remove you from the premises permanently.
You're welcome to try.
However, the terms of our contract specifically targets marauders, iconoclasts, MSI operatives, and anyone deemed to hobo-like in appearance.
No, cute. I really don't care.
Rude, ain't he, Don?
A smidge, yeah. Don't we, as a standing policy, provide an alternative to termination via financial restitution?
No, I see where this is going.
Addy, our chief financial officer, could confirm. But I'm betting if you're willing to compensate us for our lost time and productivity due to this arbitration, you could pass. I guess we could. There's something I like about you. Can't put my finger on it, but I feel like I'd rather have you with us than against us. All right. Lance, unless you have a final point of contention to make, I'd say he's clear to go.
Nah, I'll sign the clearance form. Just, I must advise you to steer clear of Devil's Peak Station. It's teeming with marauders.
Anything else you need? Trying to say we didn't do our job?
No.
I'll have you know, our contract was to stop any marauders coming from the caves. Didn't say nothing about the ones taking the mountain path. We'll
Splitting
simply
hairs.
clear them out later, once we've got the go-ahead from Berthold. That's right. Berthold Fox is our boss man, founder, president, and CEO. Bertie went down into the caves on a hunt for marauders, give or take, 6 hours ago. He's a hands-on type. Likes to handle the tougher tasks himself. Although, he should have been back. Going on 6 hours now. I'd ask you to check the caves for him, but then we'd have to kill you when you crawl back out.
Very literal, aren't you?
Space, no. The contract doesn't target C3s. How do we enforce it otherwise?
A mite cold-blooded, ain't he, Donald?
What the hell?
Done. Use this. Signal's locked to Birdie's tracker. Should lead you right to him. Or his body. Whatever you find. Bring him back to us, okay? The guy calls himself the information broker. like he's starring one of those fancy broadcast productions the station puts out. My guess is, he brokers information.
Don, I don't care if the guy's name is the architect himself so long as we get paid well and paid on time.
No dispute here.
Anyway, let's see here. I need to try to remember where this cave entrance is. There's a second way in, and I'm not seeing it. Unless Berthold just went all the way over there for no appreciable reason. Which is weird, especially considering they said he went down the caves. Ah, here we go. I kept thinking the entrance to the cave was on the other side, and I was going over there like, wait a minute. Alright, Berthold, where you at? Oh boy.
They'll never see us.
Get that sneak shot
Over here! Don't mess with the best.
in. Alright. I guess Berthold got cornered.
That assist was a violation of corporate law if I ever saw one. Since it was to my benefit, and we're largely in lawless lands, I'll look the other way. C3 owes you one, stranger. You haven't seen Constance, have you? Ah, there's her torso. And that'll be her legs over yonder, never mind. I'm Berthold.
What in the void are you thinking, creeping around a mannequin like that?
At the time, I was thinking, please don't see me, oh law, I don't want to die, nah nah nah. Now I'm thinking it was stupid to come in here. Means they're still holding the post then. Good. You might head on back. We can talk more there where it's safe. I'll be on my way. Once I've gathered up Constance's parts.
Alright then. You do that. And we will head back the way we came. Oh, wait a minute. Got turned around and missed the side route. All right, now back to the C3 camp.
Hey, Mannequin Slayer. Glad you made it in one piece. After all, not everyone's so lucky. Meet my corporate compliance crew. Then check out our weapons locker inside. I reckon you'll find something you like. Then we call it even between us. We were hired to do so, why else? You did get the memo that we're mercenaries? Our client's a bit unorthodox, sure. He calls himself the broker, and prefers the glow of a terminal to flesh and blood interaction. But I can't fault his work ethic. Our current gig's to stop, by means of lethal force, any creatures exiting the caverns, including but not limited to marauders, iconoclasts, and agents operating for the MSI.
Alright, I'll keep an eye out then. Go check this locker out. Actually, while we're here, let's repair everything we have. Oh, wait a minute. I almost forgot. No, okay. Huh. Alrighty. That settles the score with C3. Now you can ask them to help you clear out the marauders that are gathered around the entrance to Devil's Peak Station, but I do that on most of my playthroughs, so I'm not going to do it this time.
Hey you, get over here! There are marauders up ahead!
Oh no. How the hell did marauders navigate the caverns?
This station's under the protection of the corporate compliance crew.
Yeah, I know.
You a marauder? 'Cause me and my sunshine, that's my gun if you were wondering, we don't take kindly to marauders.
I wasn't wondering.
A coherent enough response, I reckon. Must be true. You're clear, but I would caution you against pressing on ahead. This station's plumb crawling with marauders, you know.
Thanks for the tip.
Hey, we're here to help. Long as the paperwork's done and the pay's good. You ought to talk to my crew. They're guarding a small barracks to the southeast, by the edge of the mountain.
Yeah, I know. Let's make sure there's not something. Okay, we're good. Alrighty.
Here we go.
Okay, well that took care of that without all the fancy
That's a hurt.
jumping and hopping and carrying on. Let's see if I can snipe this asshole. Neoka's got that one well in hand. Alright then. Oh. How nice. They come bouncing right back up here as soon as I clear the area out. Alright then. Before we go in, let's finish scouting the outside.
Hiram must have sealed the door. He spooks easy.
Is that right? Well. Lucky for us, there is a side door. Welcome to Devil's Peak Station. We've got a lot of cleaning to do.
You may not realize this, being as you're an outsider, but the blaring alarms indicate the station is on lockdown. Which means you can't ever get there. So leave already.
Can't? Move yourself out. Don't mess with us. Here's the elevator, but it ain't gonna budge while this place is on lockdown.
We
Guess
can
we
fix
keep
that.
moving forward. Look for another way up.
See what we got here. Memorandum: Environmental Controls Installation and Keycard. Barb, the new Environmental Controls Terminal is now installed and running upstairs. Congratulations. You messaged corporate about it. You get to manage it. Consider this your official notice to hide its access keycard deep in the bottom of a drawer somewhere, preferably within the archives or in one of the station's other popular sections. Because I sure as hell will not allow our station's efficiency scores to plummet due to a pointless safety feature. Don't even think about testing the system out. The emergency sirens will make your ears bleed, and if you accidentally trigger the fire suppression system, it can suck the air from the room faster than the station's last performance review. Val. Alright then. Yay, the happy Sisty Pig. We like the happy Sisty Pig. Let's see here.
You out there, whoever you are, yes, I can see you. Come here and talk to me. Base to intercom.
Oh, this is going to be one of those kind of interactions. Alright.
I can't tell if you're brave or simply touched in the head. What in the galaxy are you doing sniffing around my station? Unless you are, in fact, trying to suicide by Marauder?
No.
And you, Nyoka, what are you doing lugging a stranger into my station?
You could use the socialization, you son of a bitch. Also, he hired me.
To what purpose? I happen to have some significant problems I am dealing with right now. Marauders, running out of purple berry wine 3 days ago, not being able to bloody broadcast. I see why Nyoka tolerates you. Fine, I'll do the talking. By the hand of fate and my own cutting skill, I run this station. The Marauders may have other plans, and since my hired hands have clearly turned idle, it appears I have need of you. As my newest contractor, you may call me the broker.
Or we can call you Hiram, on account of that's your damn name, and doubly on the account of the broker being a dumbass alternative.
What? Everyone calls me that, aside from you. See, Nyoka? I barricaded the broadcast center, but I can only hold out for so long. Clear the Marauders out, and I'll pay you double the going rate. They destroy the transmission equipment, and I'll be out of business. The elevator and doors to the second floor are back online. Hurry before I have to lock them down again.
Alright, then. Oh,
That's one down.
sorry to interrupt. Funny that you sat in here through all that earlier and didn't even bother to come out looking.
Hey, elevators to your right. Get ready.
Oh, no elevator music? Alright, let's do this. Boo.
Here we go. Huh? The best there ever was.
I wasn't the only one. Boo.
Here they come. Got it. Ooh, that had to hurt.
Let me see here. This place is loaded with stuff to pick up. You just have to remember where to look for all of it. Oh, there's one right there. Trying to remember. Oh, wait a minute. I do need to go back downstairs. I know Hiram says he'll lock the elevator back down. I read the memorandum, but I did not pick up the key card. But Hiram never does lock it down. You can go back and forth pretty much as many times as you want. All right. Now. Finish picking up all the useful items. Might be safer if I don't trigger that. I remember the last time I did, I very much regretted it. Nothing on these terminals. All right.
That's the last of them, I think.
Ah, Marauder free at last. I'll get the door. You hurry on in.
Never thought I'd be ecstatic at having the walls painted in blood, but seeing as it's not mine, I'd say this calls for a celebration. This ought to square our debt. One hefty payment for a highly valued service rendered. But I admit, I do wonder why Nyoka has brought you to me. Allow me to pose my question in another manner. Why, in the nebula, are you here? If you insist. As I was telling you before, I am the premier broker for all of Monarch. Phineas must have sent you. He's the only one insane enough to send someone to Monarch to rush me. I knew it was only a matter of time before he came a-knocking. Look, I might be late, but I fulfill my contracts, always.
Oh, you do you? I have lost track of the number of beers you owe me for chasing raptidons off your stoop.
Have you seen Doc Wells? The guy's ancient. You take any more time and he's liable to croak.
Be nice, Felix.
I take offense to that. Look, okay. I was delayed by MSI and the Iconoclasts. The idiots were scrambling all transmissions to override each other's broadcasts. But as you've shut them down, I'm back in business. I don't doubt that you are working with Phineas, but my contract specifies I relay any acquired information to the purchaser, and to the purchaser alone. However, to send the data, I will need your assistance in cycling the antenna's receiver, so I can input the needed adjustments. It's simple, truly. I merely need you to waltz outside and throw the lever to cycle the power. I'll key in the numerical adjustments from in here.
Fair enough.
Terrific. I'll be here, waiting with bated breath. Give a shout if the panel electrocutes you.
Don't be a smartass. Alright, now, going back to what I'd said earlier about being pushed ever more firmly into the midst of the ongoing dispute between MSI and the Iconoclasts, yeah. This is the point I was talking about.
Testing 1, 2, check, check. Sweet stars. But that is a beautiful sound. Can you hear me? We are a go for broadcast. Oh, and I also dispatched Phineas his data. Impatient prick. Worse, I'm now indebted to him for it. Now I'll kindly thank you to get out of my tower. Look, I am well aware that at times I may have the tiniest iota of a prickly exterior, but I must admit I have grown rather fond of you. As Nyoka can attest, I do not form attachments with many. Do take care.
Why, he told us to leave without flinging insults at our persons. He really does like you, Captain.
Oh, cute.
What in the void-blasted hell is that?
It's a gunship. Crashing down. UDL gunship.
Black holes. Did you see that?
I saw it.
Looks like a UDL ship. Based on the gunnery attachments, I guess it's one of the board's blockade enforcers, but don't cite me on that. Oh well, a pity for the crew, but I can't see how it affects me. Hiram? Can you hear me? Did you see that?
Oh, here we go.
Architect, save me from swindlers and fools. Sanjar, what are you bloody doing on my channel? Did MSI or did MSI not cease broadcasting? Yes, but... Hiram, are you there?
Oh, here we go. Again.
Not without a physical contact waiver. Ah, the good captain. The truth brings us together once more. Our salvation has come crashing through the stratosphere. We need only collect its weapons. Are you mad? That's a UDL gunship. You'd probably shoot your own toes off.
Alright, you're acting like children.
Par for the course, really. You should do like I did. Get out while you still retain a shred of sanity. We could use the gunship's armaments to defend Stellar Bay, but we need its targeting module. Our message is so close to breaking free of this planet and spreading to the stars. Help us secure that module and we will save our colony. Listen, I don't care a single whit what you do, so long as you leave me out of it. Which means, get off my void damn channel. I'm more than finished with you lot.
Alright. Now, our primary task is to go and talk to Phineas, but that means leaving Monarch and flying back to the secret lab. However, we really should secure that module before we do anything else. Simply because it will be brought up later. Oh. Is it a bit gauche to be looting these bodies in full sight of the people that were just fighting with them? Maybe just a tad. But, given the state of affairs around here, I don't really care. I've played a lot of games over the years where there would be lots of little side areas that you could find on your travels, and it's just a case of you'd be walking down the road, walking along the street in a town or whatever, and you just see this little corner and be like, oh, what's over there? And you might find something neat or useful, or just, you know, some food or ammunition or what have you. But this little area here that kind of runs between Terra 1 Publications and the UDL gunship crash site is literally one of the biggest out of the way areas that you can
Here we go. Yeah, that's what you
potentially
get.
discover.
That's the last of them.
It involves a bit of hiking, but if you go back here digging around, you'll find useful stuff. Find some marauders to shoot for extra experience. I was mildly surprised there was not actually any sort of quest involved with
Take you.
these buildings, but Peekaboo. Well, don't knock him behind the tree, Nyoka. Yeah, I was always kind of surprised that there were no, even just a little side quest of some sort connected to these buildings. But I suppose it was just explore it if you want to, but you don't have to kind of an area.
All right, let's dance.
Nice hit.
Yeah. Now that was fun.
Ah, Felix, you're adorable. Now that reminds me, I've got this thing I need to... Alrighty. Canned saltiner and brine. Sounds downright delicious. I always kind of wondered the way the container looked, those OxyComp aromatics that you find. They remind me of those little, what are they? The little inhalers of purified oxygen or whatever it is that you'll sometimes see people use. I always wondered what the purpose for those was, other than it's like some kind of little vanity purchase that just, it's, oh, look at me, I'm using purified oxygen to boost my brain power.
Nicely done.
Whatever. You probably would use that stuff, and if you weren't careful, you'd be all lightheaded for a minute or two. All right. Cleared this place out. Shot this poor guy and he literally fell to pieces. A sketchy suit. I suppose it could be worse. Watch that first step, it's a doozy. Now I do need to go back up and then around to the left. But like I was saying before, this is probably one of the best examples of the totally out of the way, totally not required that you go there, but worth it just for exploring something that's...
Sooner we put these addled psychopaths in the ground, the better.
at least worth visiting just for the fun of it. Oh, hello. I don't know what happened there.
Here we go. I got him, boss.
That's the last of them.
There we go. All these marauders that come running at you with clubs and blades, and here you are wielding machine guns and pistols and rifles, you know, ranged weapons. Reminds me of the some of the raiders that you'd encounter in Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas, or even Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. Literally, I am standing there holding a 50 cal machine gun, and you are running at me with a baseball bat. Or a board with nails in it.
Nobody messes with you, boss. That'll learn him.
And I'm like, okay, you know, I'd just stand there and watch one of them come running at me. They're all yelling and screaming and carrying on. And they're like, yeah. Oh. All right.
Here we go.
Get out of my face.
Can we do that again?
Sure. We will here in a minute, don't worry. Let's see here. It's Spacer's choice. Yeah, it's like these folks just pulled up stakes and just ran. They didn't even have time to take any of their stuff with them. They just completely left it behind. But this does go back to my previous comment about it being worth your while when you spot what looks like an out-of-the-way area to take a minute or two and explore it, because you never know what exciting things you might find. I cannot hack this one though, unfortunately, because in order to get into it you need a hack score, lockpick score of 100. So if I can remember it, I will come back to it later. I can't believe I said hack. Lockpick, literally. Come on, Drax, lockpick. Anywho.
Opening fire. That's one down.
Where are you going? Yay! Isn't it exciting? All right. Okay. Essentially, the crashed UL ship, you can see it there in the distance. We're going to work our way around to it. But if you take your time and explore this area as thoroughly as you can,
All right, here we go.
word. Don't be so friendly. I guess that Chimera was a tossball fan. It had several cards in its possession, didn't it?
Take him down.
Don't mess with us.
Nobody messes
That's
with
the
you,
last
boss.
of 'em.
What was that over there? Oh, okay. Ah, crap. I did not mean to do that. Nope.
Boy, take you.
Nice hit.
That was fun. Let's do it again.
Sizzling. And here we are at the UDL gunship crash site.
You go on ahead, Captain. I'm not keen on ships, even when they're in the best of shape.
I'll keep an eye out. Go on ahead, boss.
Fair enough. Alright, let's start off with the interesting bits.
Hello, my name's Jen. I'm the chief engineer on this gunship, and I'd like to let the record show that our captain is a total fucking hullhead. I told him again and again that without fixing our regulators, spinning up the engines are going to blow through our coils and we'll go flying off in a completely random direction. Well, here we are. Thinking we'll hit soil in about 30 seconds. This is your chief engineer signing off for what is probably the last time. It's a shame you can't see this middle finger I'm holding up, because I'm doing it as hard as I can.
Let's see what we've got here. Oh. Alright, 12th November, 2354. CE's saying something about spare regulator bypass something something. Chikushu. I'm probably butchering the hell out of that. I'm turning this thing toward the groundbreaker, firing up the engines and retiring. Better to be arrested than lose power and drift out into space. I just hope this old bird can handle one last trip. Apparently not. 21st December, 2354. How in this law-forsaken colony is it so impossible to requisition parts? My chief engineer is barking at me to order yet another damn thing, and I can't even get a response from corporate. Alright, 3rd January, 2355. Another day, another ship lands on Terra 1, and we can't shoot him down. That must have been the unreliable. That makes, I've lost count. What's the point of being out here if we can't get some backup? The main terminal offline. Bridge controls offline. Engines technically functional. Hull integrity, don't ask. This Mark IV gunship's operational parameters have exceeded acceptable damage ranges. The cost of any repairs necessary at your nearest UDL repair facility will be averaged amongst the crew. God bless America. Alright then. Targeting modules are located in primary routing. Access requires Captain Matsu's command key. Warning, the integration module is responsible for controlling access to this ship's primary functions. Removing it will void your manufacturer's warranty. I don't think that really matters at this point. And despite removing it, the ship remains UDL property. Unauthorized access by parties not covered by UDL policy is a felony. Well, they can prosecute me for it. Alright then. Oh. That poor bastard got buried, didn't he? And here is what Graham and Sanjar were both going on about back at Devil's Peak. The Cantankerous Canid Targeting Module. Now we have two choices. We can give the module to Graham and the Iconoclasts, or we can give it to Sanjar and Monarch Stellar Industries.
Big man. Ooh, that had to hurt. No mess, but the best.
Now there's several ways you can, address the dispute. You can side exclusively with one or the other, but there is an option to broker peace, but you have to do certain tasks for both sides in order for that to even be a possibility. Oh.
Right, let's dance.
Libations on me, folks.
And since we're trying to go for the most positive outcome, and I say that only because as somebody who tries to usually do the most helpful thing, these colonies in Halcyon have seen more than enough trouble. It might not necessarily be a bad thing if they learned to cooperate. Just a little bit. Now, that, of course, flies in the face of what the board would have one do. Because if it was up to the board,
Have a good brawl.
Don't mess with us.
they would probably just say, wipe this whole group out, wipe that whole group out. We're the only ones allowed to be in control. And without sounding like a complete socialist revolutionary who thinks you need to just burn everything down and start anew, although there is merit to that philosophy at times. In this instance, it's better that these people find ways to build common ground between them and improve. Seek to fix some of their problems rather than simply
Here we go.
burning it all down, being king of the ashes, essentially. Now this is the back gate to
This area's
Cascadia.
suicide. If you got a way around it, ain't no shame in taking it.
We will have to come back here soon. But first, I want to address the MSI iconoclast matter. So, let's make a quick stop to Amber Heights. And
I
let's
ought to
see.
mention, the iconoclasts are loyal folk. Treat them right, they'll do the same. Turn on them, they'll open fire without a second thought.
Yeah, I gathered that. Huh. All right. They're probably not going to say anything, at least not yet. Though Graham, being aware... Oh, there she is.
Captain, we should chat.
What's up?
Graham's got the right idea, but he isn't the right guy to execute it. I don't even think he's motivated by philosophism anymore. I think he's just guilt-ridden. I can't believe I'm even saying this, but I keep going over and over it in my head, and the only way I see the iconoclast surviving is we depose him.
Yeah, I can see that. And you can see it. You can kind of sense this coming as you progress helping the iconoclasts and seeing the way Zora gets mad at Graham for all the frivolous shit that he does instead of focusing on getting food and medicine for his people and helping them to better secure their position. And you know, from a passion and, you know, purpose standpoint, I can appreciate and relate to Graham's drive, but at the same time, you know, you can't take care of your people's needs solely by doing what he does. That's why I've always been more in Zora's corner, as, you know, the practical standpoint of we need to get these people food, medicine, take care of, you know, various issues. And that's why I have no compunction about saying this right here.
Okay. Deep breaths. This is what's best, Zora. Time to save Monarch.
I'm not going to say Graham is a great man, but I'm not going to say he's a terrible man either. Like virtually every other main character that you interact with at one point or another in the course of this game, they all have ghosts.
Captain, you must be back with the access codes to our new ship.
Graham, we need to talk.
We have work to do. This isn't the time for one of our spats. Stand down. I'm afraid I don't understand, Captain.
You're running the iconoclast into the ground, and I don't believe it'll get better after we take Stellar Bay. The troops take orders from me already, and you've brought me as far as you can down the eternal path. It's time to step down.
The troops? Listen to you. This isn't an army. They aren't soldiers. They're believers. Followers. They pick up a gun because you tell them to, not because they want to. And you, Captain, after all you've done for me, for us, you throw behind this mutinous blasphemer?
So she's a mutinous blasphemer simply because she's concerned for the welfare of her people and all roads in this case lead to the inescapable fact that unless something is done, unless Graham either steps back or is dealt with permanently, the iconoclast situation here is not going to get any better. That's where that line comes in with me with Graham. He's not necessarily a terrible guy, but he's not a great guy. He's very single-minded, and again, lumping Zora and me in together as mutinous blasphemers simply because of what our concerns are. Yeah, that's just proof that it's time for Graham to step away. And I'm just going to be brutally honest, Graham. He may be a believer, he may not. I don't know. I don't really care. But if he was wanting to take over the planet, he doesn't really have the capacity to handle that responsibility.
I built this movement from the ground up. I've brought freedom to Monarch, and all these years later, we're still free.
I joined because I believed that you were in it for the Iconoclasts. That you wanted nothing more than to bring freedom to Halcyon. That you were selfless. But I know the truth now, Graham. I know what happened in Amber Heights. You didn't start this movement because you wanted to save us. You wanted to save yourself.
No.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. Any of these would work. But this is why, again, I can't fully condemn Graham, because you can't really truly appreciate what goes through a person's mind in a certain situation until you've been there yourself. And while I can't condemn him for it, I certainly can't say that he's deserving to stay where he is as leader.
I escaped the corruption of the endless cycle of corporate greed.
Cover story.
Yes, I ran from that. But now I'm ready to face it once more. I've spent years atoning for my sins. I've studied, meditated, taught. I built the Iconoclasts so that any man could cast away his past for a fresh start.
That's your answer, Graham? You needed a fresh start? After all those innocent lives? I'm sorry. I believed in you once. I did. But it's over. Stand down.
I won't. What happened back then was a mistake, and the colony has moved on. This is my movement. These are my people. If you want to lead them, you'll have to kill me.
One more thing I'm going to say before we have to throw down with Graham is, while I can't condemn him, and he is not fit to be a leader, really, he is full of shit. He is completely full of shit. Everybody makes mistakes, everybody screws up, but whether or not he's truly a believer in what he preaches, yes, he did ultimately do it because he wanted to assuage his own conscience. And yeah, those people's blood is still on his hands, regardless.
Please, don't make me do this, Graham.
If this is where my path ends, I accept it. But as long as I draw breath, I will not abandon them.
So be it.
Here they come!
All right.
Well, Captain, here we are. Killed a lot of people in the name of the Iconoclasts, and it never feels right. But this time, it's especially wrong. You've got the... Void held me. I'll never remember what that thing is called. The device from the ship. Do you have it?
Now here's the part where I mentioned you can foster peace between the Iconoclasts and the MSI. But you only get to this point if you did the side quests that helped both factions.
I've thought about it, but I think we're too far gone. Pulling Carlotta's support was crossing a line.
And this right here, I could say this, which is true. But this is the more practical, ugly truth answer. MSI and the Iconoclasts could fight each other until Kingdom Come. In the end, if they don't band together, strength in numbers, share resources, yeah, this planet will ultimately, just like this says, devour whoever wins, because then they'll be completely alone and there will be nobody else to come and help.
Yeah, well, we'll die Fuck. I sound like Graham. Throwing lives at a problem.
Yep.
I've lost a hell of a lot to this fight. Graham would never agree to this, but I'm starting to realize how often he led us astray. All right. If he's willing to talk, I'll give him a chance.
I will talk to Sanjar for you. And of course, we will go back to Stellar Bay. And the very first thing Sanjar will ask us is, do you have the module? Which we do. But we're going to have an important chat first.
You know, Nyoka, between you and me, we know all there is to know about Monarch.
What makes you say that?
Well, you got your life experiences.
If the Iconoclasts reach that ship first, there won't be any chance for a peaceful Monarch.
I don't suppose you've found the targeting module yet. I've sent patrols, but they're running into trouble with the Iconoclasts.
Yeah, I know. I saw them at Terra 1 Publications.
They're all mad. And what's more, they left us. I don't see any way for us to work together. Not this again.
Remember what we practiced, sir.
Yes. The words in those reviews were very hurtful, but they do not define me. I am a mantipillar, and my will is my cocoon. I can emerge and become whatever I wish.
And this is where bringing the Iconoclasts and MSI together is a positive thing. Sanjar is extremely detail-oriented. Zora sees a bigger picture. The two of them working together would be far more beneficial for both groups than for the two of them to continue to fight until one side finally defeats the other, and then the survivors are forced into an even more stringent situation where they simply have no one to turn to in an emergency. Now, admittedly, a small part of me wants to tell Sanjar to pull his head out of his ass, but I'm going to be diplomatic about it.
You two?
He has a point, sir. And it's not all bad.
Supposing you're right, who exactly would you have me work with? The Iconoclasts are not the most compromising sorts.
Zora Blackwood.
That's an interesting suggestion. I confess I don't know much about her except that she worked for Rizzo.
There ain't a body on this planet that can keep a group patched up like she has. I don't know how she does it.
I'd be willing to consider it, but I need to see her review first.
Sanjar.
Excellent. Her review would be in the Rizzo offices in Cascadia. Bring it to me, and I'll see if she's qualified.
For the time being, I am going to hold on to the targeting module. now, let me remind myself where. Oh, yeah, down there. Okay. Right. Oh boy.
Heads up, boss!
Perfection.
We found the back way into Cascadia. Now we're going to find the front way. And while we're at it, we're going to visit the grave of Nyoka's former comrade. Oh.
Heads up!
Okay.
All right, let's dance!
Don't you run away from me.
Don't mess with us. Wraps. Let's clear this sulfur-sodden fucks out so Hayes can rest in peace.
Fair enough. Seems convenient they're hanging out right on top of his grave, too. Buried near the surface of Hayes' grave is a small lockbox. Its hinges rusted through and its wood almost completely rotted. It nearly falls apart in your hands, but in it you manage to find a tarnished silver medallion bearing the letters Charon. Right. Nyoka.
Hayes was the best self-sacrificing son of a saint I ever met. Halcyon is worse off without him. Now, if we're gonna lure the Manta Queen out, we'll need to find Rebecca and Anders. They took a UDL contract on Terra 2. We never heard from them again. Think it's time I call in a favor with Hiram. If anyone can track them down, it's him.
All right. And from there,
That was fun.
yeah, blast.
Good work.
Incoming!
See what's on this before we do anything else. Welcome to the offices of Rizzo, a wholly owned subsidiary of East West Company. McClure, C. McClure. 17th April 2342. Cecil, I have received multiple complaints about your interactions with customers. According to these reports, the following phrases have been used when describing Rizzo products being sold at your storefront. If that ain't savings, just call me a Raptidon, expletive deleted. The latest batch is gonna knock you out like a nose full of sulfur. The north end of a southbound woolly cow. That's nice. These and others are not approved metaphors. Please refer to your employee handbook for the list of metaphors allowed when working. Much obliged, Violet Humbert, Human Resources Department, Rizzo Incorporated. Okay, from C. McClure. 20th June 2342. Violet, I have received notices of the following violations: consumption of non-approved lunch material, failure to volunteer for voluntary overtime, god damn, sale of restricted goods. I contest these violations on the following grounds. I'm allergic to purpleberry. Making one of our pre-approved purpleberry lunch meals will literally kill me. To be candid, it is a miracle I have lived here this long without incident. I can't volunteer for overtime because I've already been assigned overtime shifts. Okay, I'll fess up to selling restricted goods. You got me there. Selling soap to a man who stinks so bad I can't smell the sulfur around him is against the rules. Fine, I won't do it anymore. Cecil. To P. Bartleby. 1st September 2342. Ms. Bartleby, I am writing to inform you that multiple employees have filed Form Romeo 441, perceived danger to human resources, through my office. It appears that Raptidon sightings are growing more and more frequent. As Rizzo Inc. has not responded to our requests for safety equipment, a level of concern and, dare I say it, restlessness grows amongst workers. Any indication as to the truth of these sightings or of the rumors that Rizzo Inc. is no longer supporting our efforts here would go a long way toward improving company morale. Last but not least, from Z. Blackwood. 17th September 2342. Violet, please, we are all begging you, for the love of all that is good and just, please let Cecil sell soap to Simon again. He's got some kind of condition. I don't rightly know what it is, but I smelled corpses with a finer odor than his. Zora. Ugh. That's disgusting. Alright then.
That's what you get.
With us?
It's funny that guy was about to smack me with a big hammer, but he was carrying an assault rifle. Okay. And wasn't carrying a hammer, I might add. See what we got here. Public notice number 117. Halcyon Holdings Corporate Board, public notice number 117 on the issuing of a hazard clause for Terra 1. This notice, issued on 12th January 2343, serves as the public denouncement of Terra 1 as a feasible workplace environment due to the hostile and aggressive nature of the wildlife, as well as the unsustainability of its natural flora for use in human consumption. The Halcyon Holdings Corporate Board has officially enacted a hazard clause covering the entirety of Terra 1. After an evacuation period of no more than 6 months, Terra 1 will be officially considered illegal territory. As this is a unanimous decision, any corporation caught operating on Terra 1 after the evacuation period will face fines and possible disbarment as defined in Halcyon Code 22.1. Okay. From Sumner Z to Theodore T. Pauline B. Subject the Hazard Clause, 12th January 2343. I've received confirmation that Rizzo will soon abandon Terra 1 with the rest of the corporations. We are expected to maintain our exports until the day we leave. All teams will continue to operate until told otherwise. As of this time, I don't see the need to inform anyone outside the three of us of the board's decision. We don't want our workers thinking they're going to be reassigned. Just let them do what they do best, their jobs. Thanks, Sumner. And then T. Theodore was wondering, does this change our priorities at all? Should we begin scuttling research and focusing more on the exports? And then Z. Sumner told T. Theodore and B. Pauline, no, we'll hit our export quotas for the next 7 months at least. Project Terra is still our #1 priority. Okay, from Rizzo Directorate to Sumner Z, Shuttle Redistribution, 7th March 2343. Mr. Ziegler, we regret to inform you that the shuttles en route to the bottling facility at Cascadia have been rerouted. The evacuation effort is prioritized in order of profitability, measured chiefly by export volume, and as of this time, other facilities have proven themselves either more profitable or more efficient. The distribution system will send the minimum 1 shuttle for evacuation purposes. If you have more personnel than can fit on a standard shuttle, Rizzo recommends establishing a priority system so that the loading and preparation of that shuttle can proceed smoothly. Please be advised that any attempt to load more than the maximum amount of human resources onto the shuttle will be met with forceful intervention. Warm regards, your friends in the Rizzo Inc. Directorate. Okay, and then apparently Z. Sumner was wondering, what about Project Terra? Whatever that is. And then Rizzo Directorate came back. Mr. Ziegler, research projects are not taken into consideration when calculating the profitability of any given settlement. Project Terra's importance may place it higher on your priority list, but we are still unable to send more than 1 shuttle for evacuation. We suggest you balance your resources accordingly. And then here's Z. Sumner, T. Theodore, and B. Pauline talking back and forth, 8th March 2343. We get 1 shuttle. By my estimate, the Project Terra assets, both human and otherwise, will take up approximately 2/3 of our available space. That leaves us and a couple more people we can take with us. We need to decide how we're going to decide who else to take. Perhaps a subcommittee to draft a decision-making plan. Jesus. T. Theodore comes back. You know me, Sumner. I love subcommittees, but any decision we make is going to end up with pissed-off workers. Let's just ride out with the Terra crew. We'll enjoy a bit of extra legroom. Once we're safe on T2, we can see about getting another shuttle sent out. And then B. Pauline seconded. What will we tell the workers? And then Z. Sumner comes back. We will tell them that we're going to get them out. They just won't know it'll be 1 shuttle at a time. It's fine. Do not tell them about the hazard clause. Our goal is to get out of here peacefully. No incidents. I don't want panic. I don't want a riot or, law forbid, a strike. Once we're out, we'll send word back with further plans. Until then, keep this among us. What a bunch of bitches. They evacuated and left everyone else here to die, because I guarantee you another shuttle never came. in between the Mannequeens and the Raptidons and the Terror Rays. Yeah. They just got picked off one by one by one. Alright, what do we got here? Rizzo's Employee Monitoring and Human Resources Portal. Yay. Let's start with this one of Cecil McClure, because I saw that name earlier. Cecil's enthusiasm for Rizzo's products is unmatched, and he displays an impressive knowledge of company products. He's exactly the kind of worker we need to keep at our storefronts. Do not promote beyond store manager. Hampered by his own success. Zora Blackwood. Zora is a top-notch sawbones with a good head for working under pressure. She knows how to assimilate large amounts of detailed information to make quick decisions. Her competence and decisiveness have allowed her to restore more than a few limbs and digits lost to carelessness around the machinery. Recommend for Employee of the Month. All right. Well, we've got what Sanjar wanted. So now... Oh, no, wait. Not Amber Heights. Stellar Bay.
Must have been nice, throwing off the shackles of your old job, taking up the rugged life of a hunter.
Sure, it's... Wait, what?
Board must have forced you to do something till you decided to be a hunter. I was hauling boxes till the boss picked me up.
It's not like I threw off the shackles of some other life. I grew up on Monarch. I've always been a hunter. Anything else would be a waste of my outstanding talents.
I get it. You picked a path for yourself and never looked back. According to the board, what you did was impossible.
The board also claims it's impossible to live on Monarch, yet here I stand. They believe gainful employment necessary to one's survival. I believe the board can kiss my ass.
I like Nyoka. Alright, Sanjar.
Any luck bringing the Iconoclast to the bargaining table? I don't like the idea that they'll be trying for that module while we delay.
Don't worry about the damn module, Sanjar. I have it.
Very well. I can't promise anything, but let's see what we have here. Well, it seems like she's actually very qualified.
Yeah.
If it weren't for her, I'd wager the Iconoclast would have died off a while ago.
All right. I'll have Celia organize a meeting in neutral territory, the old OSI church in the ruins. Meet us there, and we'll discuss terms.
Hey, Nyoka. I got some questions I've been meaning to ask you. About being a hunter and all.
Felix, are you reading off your hand again?
Yep. So, first question. Before you kill your prey, you ever say any snappy one-liners?
Snappy one-liners? Give me an example.
Like, nothing personal, or maybe, you messed with the wrong hunter.
Animals can't understand language, Felix. Besides, it's always personal. I don't kill them, they'll kill me. It ain't exactly a wholesome business arrangement we've got going on.
Ah, Felix. You're a dork, but I love you. He's such a enthusiastic, revolutionary type. Unfortunately, there's a lot to be said about that. And I'm not going to say any of it.
Hey, thanks for coming.
I wish I'd had more time to prepare a proper analysis on the costs and benefits of your proposed union, but I suppose we'll have to
improvise.
Improvisation is usually the ideal course of action. You can't plan everything, Sanjar.
Gotta admit, I really thought I was walking into a trap here. I'm ready.
If it were, I wouldn't be standing here all vulnerable like.
Sanjar, Stellar Bay's got food and walls. And my people need both. If you'll have us, we're willing to share the space.
Do you have any idea what that would cost? Why, drawing up the budget alone is going to take weeks.
Not good enough. I need to move a fair amount of my people into the city. We need shelter, Captain. Suppose some of our healthier folk could offer aid. Some of us need to stay in the city proper, though.
Well, I'll be damned. If you two can work together, maybe there's some hope for this place after all.
Truly, a compromise? I'm not sure I'd ever have heard as much from Graham.
Graham was a murderous fiend, and I'd be shocked if you didn't already know that. Void take his agreement. He stood by and let it happen.
This feels like one of those times when everyone at headquarters but me is laughing at something, but you two aren't laughing.
Amber Heights, you haulhead. 10 years ago, Graham had all those people killed.
What? That's not possible. Even for him, that's going too far.
Yeah, like I said before, I can't say Graham was all good or all bad, but he was responsible for those people dying. So, yeah.
But that means I had no idea, I swear. Look, we were both fed up with corporate leadership, but I never guessed he'd do something like that.
I buy it. Sanjar ain't capable of hurting a sprat, even from a distance.
No.
You can't take bureaucrats at their word. You back someone into a corner like this, and they'll say anything to get out of it.
You're doing it again, Zora.
Okay. You're right. Sorry. It'll take me a while to get over losing Graham.
You know, I felt the same way years ago, when he first left. There was something magnetic about him that let you ignore the things you didn't want to see. But surely you know what that's like.
Yeah, I do. Okay, if you're willing to house and supply some of us, I'll have our more capable soldiers help out.
As am I. Oh, I can feel my blood pressure lowering already.
Thanks for coming out, Sanjar. Guess I'll see you at Stellar Bay.
Never doubted you for a minute, boss.
Oh, thank you, Felix. I appreciate it. All right, let's make a quick run. I think I left my ship at Fallbrook. Will the depravity never cease? MSI and the Iconoclast's broker piece. You know that a system is fucked 9 ways to Sunday when it's mad that two organizations that have spent years fighting against each other broker peace because both sides just can't do it anymore and they're better off working together than staying at loggerheads for the rest of forever.
Hey, Cass. Knock, knock.
But then again, that's the whole backdrop story of this entire game.
You'd think folks were pissing in the alleyways as bad as it stinks. Oh, they are. So that puddle I stepped.
Okay. Let's offload some stuff. Whoops. Better not. Let me hold on to that.
That wasn't beer.
Okay. Well, I said my ship was up here. It must have gone back to Stellar Bay, but we can get it recalled to this landing platform.
We've arrived at Phineas's orbital lab.
'12th power energy field. That's a pop reference to a line from the Star Trek motion picture when the Enterprise first caught up with the V'ger cloud that was making its way towards Earth, and Captain Kirk asked Mr. Spock his analysis of the cloud, and he said 12th power energy field, and Sulu and a whole bunch of others were like, 12th power? You know, thousands of starships couldn't generate that much. Stop, Drax, your inner nerd's showing.
I'd clap you on the shoulder if I went behind a wall of bulletproof glass. I don't know how you did it, but Hiram Blythe just sent me everything I needed. According to Hiram's message, Minister Clark has ordered a suspicious amount of dimethyl sulfoxide. It's almost as if he's hoarding the colony's remaining supply. Typical elitist, hoarding supplies during a time of scarcity. Once I have those chemicals, we can revive the Hope's colonists and put some decent people in charge. So, good news. You're going to Byzantium and stealing those chemicals. Exciting. Ah, yes, the details. I'm not about to ask you to rampage through Byzantium trading bullets with the board's agents. We'll have to resort to subterfuge. Carmen Imagawa. She's my contact in Byzantium. Meet her at the docks. She'll have all the necessary intelligence you require. I'm giving you my old nav key to Byzantium. You'll need it to land in the Golden City. Remember, you're looking for dimethyl sulfoxide. Big green bubbling vessel with a warning label. I'll take as much as you can find. You can trust her if that's what you're asking. Imagawa is the finest special agent in Byzantium that money can buy. My money, anyway.
All right. And now, before we do anything else, we're not going to Byzantium just yet. We've got a few more tasks to complete on Terra 1. Specifically, we've got chemicals to retrieve from the Rizzo's lab under Cascadia. And we've got to talk to Hiram, the broker, again.
Captain, Felix and the vicar are arguing again.
Let them argue.
We're now in orbit above Fallbrook, Captain.
Now, let me go take care of this before I do anything else. Since the iconoclasts are going to be living in Stellar Bay now.
Philosophist hogwash, Felix.
Yeah, if by philosophist hogwash you mean the virtues of enlightened anarchy.
Organization separates us from the animals. You ever seen a rat lay plumbing? You see sprats running around building roads? Maybe the folks we have at the top ain't exactly leadership material, but if we tore the whole thing down, we'd be kings and queens of a wasteland.
Correction? Kings and queens of an awesome wasteland.
I'll take toilets over freedom any day of the week.
That reminds me of a line I remember hearing my mama say one time. My dad used to always get all spun up about the fact that my mama bought the pricier name brand toilet paper. And it was not because, you know, he was a cheap ass or anything. It's just, even when I was a kid, the name brand toilet paper was always noticeably more expensive than the more, you know, generic brands you could buy. And when my dad asked her about it one time when we were coming home from the grocery store, she said flat out, "I will happily eat chopped ramen noodles for a year as long as I get to wipe my ass with the fluffy stuff." And yeah, there are some toilet paper brands out there that should be illegal because they're not so much toilet paper as they're toilet sandpaper. And that's all I'm going to say on that.
Well met, Captain. What do you need? I don't much want to talk about it, but all right, if you insist.
Yeah, the only way I can finish this quest, I'm not going to fake his death and hurt that woman's heart anymore that's already hurting. But Tucker and his mama are just going to have to sort things out on their own.
She doesn't want to see me as anything other than her baby boy. Why would I go back again? What'll be different this time? You're right. I can do this. I just need to stand my ground and make her see she can't control me anymore. No one can.
Yay! That whole situation with Tucker and his mama is just... You're always gonna be, and I know there's a lot of people that would chafe at the idea, but you're always gonna be your mama's baby boy. It doesn't matter how old you are. That's just the way it is. And as much as sometimes every kid grates under their mama's, you know, nitpicking or fussing about them or what have you, I would gladly put up with it and all the eye rolling and shaking my head that I do just to spend a little bit more time with her. Let's see here. Let's go back to Devil's Peak and talk to the broker. Let's see, I need to remember which way I'm going here.
So much for peace and quiet. Would it kill the universe to cut me some slack? Oh, great. I love doing pro bono work for friends.
Aw, you called us friends. I'd normally entertain your self-aggrandizing delusions, but this time it's important.
Important to you is not the same as important to me. Although I do recognize that you may have earned some goodwill during your months laboring for me. Tug on my heartstrings, why don't you? Look, I'll do what I can, all right?
Rebecca Hodges and Anders Wadsworth. They took a UDL contract back when Monarch went to shit, and I need to find them. I believed them to be on Terra too.
If UDL hired 2 hunters back then, it would have been for creature clearing purposes round one of their Spacer's Choice outposts. These are the coordinates for the outpost under the last UDL contract. Now scram. And, good luck. Give my regards to Phineas.
Alright then. I know the settlement they're talking about. It's actually not far from the geothermal plant.
I believe I hear Felix and Parvati discussing the latest Aetherwave serial. We are now in orbit above Edgewater, Captain.
All right. There's where we're headed.
I'd wager this is the outpost. Rebecca! Anders! Come on out! Here we go!
That had to hurt!
That's the last of them.
Here they go again, wearing that uncertified mining gear. How dare they?
Hey, take a gander. The door's busted. Huh. Rebecca taught me this once. You can jerry-rig these old locks so as they don't open anymore. But we've only ever done that if we're in a real bind. Here, I'll fix it. Oh no. Oh no. What did you do?
Oh, hell. I'm sorry, Nyoka.
What do we got here? Rusty journal. Its display is faded and the buttons are almost entirely rusted through, but you can still make out bits and pieces of what look like Rebecca's final entries. Law helped me, but Anderson was right. We never should have taken this contract. I thought Monarch was bad, but this is unbearable. Everyone here is blind or addled or I don't know what. The towns won't let us walk in without an employment contract. I can't even find someone to let me send a message. For all the capable folk here, we're stuck. Back home we had to fight for every meal because there were no meals that you didn't make yourself, but here there's plenty, but nobody's allowed to give you one. We've been stealing bits and pieces of life from wherever we can. Anderson is about ready to sign up, offer his life in service to Spacer's Choice just so he can take a shower. Clara, I hope to the architect this never reaches you, but on the off chance it does, I want to say I'm sorry. Anderson and I fucked up. We didn't take the contract for the bits. We didn't take it because primals sounded cool. We took it because we wanted out. Monarch's a living hell. We're sick of getting sick. Of boiled raptidon and stinking like sulfur no matter how hard you scrub. Of fighting day in and day out. We're exhausted. We thought we could use the contract money to find a place here. Settle down. But this place ain't any better. It's just different. We're starving all the same. We never should have left. I just thought maybe we could do better. I miss you, kid. Marauders at the door. Anderson's bled out. I'm on my way. I won't let them get me. Not alive, anyway. I've seen what those monsters do.
They were... That bitch! They were all set to abandon us! What would Clara say, huh? Every day she'd ask if we heard from you. And she'd have forgiven you. The kid had a soul that made the sulfur smell like roses. Ugh. Or to leave your medallions to rot with you, but Clara would want to be buried with her sister. At least I know. Ought to have learned by now that getting one's hopes up tends to open them to being dashed across the stars. I hate to say this, but Clara died thinking her sister was still fighting to get back home. I think I'm glad. If she were still alive now, it'd break her to know the truth. Yeah, maybe. I'm used to disappointment. She was still so naive as to let it hurt her every time it happened. Only thing left is to take these medallions home, which means figuring out how to bait the Mana Queen out of our old base. The most pissed off I've ever seen a queen was when a foreign species was on our soil. I'd wager the stench of a primal might do the trick. That'd be boring. Half the fun in exploring is the fact that you're on an unknown trail. I've never had the pleasure of hunting primals, but I hear they're all over Scylla. Let's tear a few apart, shall we? I'm sure they've got pheromones. Everything does.
Alright, so next we'll be headed to Scylla
A
to
reminder
kill...
to all crew members, there is only one toilet on the ship.
Our next stop will be to head to Scylla, as I was about to say before Ada interrupted me, to get some pheromone glands from primals. But that's going to do it for today's episode, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any questions, comments, constructive criticisms, leave me a comment down below. And as always, I will see you in our next episode. Cheers.